when you look at this situation with the death of Robin Williams, or not the death, the suicide of Robin Williams, when you analyze his suicide, what it really gives you is a window into the baby boomer generation and how dysfunctional and narcissistic and destructive that this generation is, has been, and will continue to be until the last one walks the earth. You know, you can't go on Facebook or online or Tumblr or any of these sites without being bombarded by these Robin Williams quotes and memes and inspirational sayings, like he's some kind of prophet, and how we as a society and as a country and as a planet are supposed to mourn this guy, of having some kind of, his suicide having some kind of deeper meaning, and we're supposed to take such pity on him and that he was so sad and whatever was going on in his life. And that's not to say it's not sad when anybody thinks that their life is so worthless that they should just end it. Of course, that's tragic. And you never want anybody to feel that way. And, you know, as survivors of narcissistic abuse, we know those feelings all too well. Some of us have tried, others haven't, some have come closer than others, but we're still here. And most of us are still here is because, you know, when you tried to do it, you really didn't want to die. Okay, there's very few who actually go that far and somebody has to step in and save. So that's not, don't take my comments that I'm going to say as that I'm thinking anybody who's ever tried to commit suicide or has thought about it, I'm lumping them into what I'm about to say. I'm not. We're still here. And all suicides aren't the same. And when you watch the media and how this is portrayed, well, first of all, with everything that's been going on in the world, the Middle East is on fire, Russia's invading the Ukraine, the United States southern border is overflowing. You know, you got flying Ebola patients in. With all that going on, the news stopped. And pretty much, it's a good 48 hours in this country. I don't know what it was worldwide, but I'd say a good 48 hours. It was nonstop Robin Williams' death. And then it scaled back, but you were still getting, you know, hourly updates on his death, and then it was scaling back to, like, you know, every couple hours, and now maybe once or twice a week you're still hearing about it. But to put the death of an actor on the same level, not even on the same level, ahead of everything else that's been going on in this world, and there's stuff I'm sure I'm not even name. You know, Mexico's holding one of our Marines on some kind of bullshit charge. I mean, it's just insane. North Korea holding prisoners. This ISIS group, you know, beheading journalists. Robin Williams. Now, if he was some kind of social icon, I understand. You know, he's a popular actor. I never really liked his comedy. I thought it was kind of hacky. He never really says anything. It's all this stream of consciousness bullshit that there are no jokes. He just points at it and makes a funny noise, and people laugh, and everybody just claps along. It's if you ever actually watched Robin Williams comedy, he doesn't say anything. It's this stream of consciousness, quick, jerky stuff. He's not a funny comedian, in my opinion. He was a very good actor. There's no taking away from his acting abilities. None whatsoever. I mean, he could do some funny stuff. He does some serious stuff. He played a great role in that, if you ever saw 1 Hour Photo, where he plays an absolute pervert creep. And that was a really good acting job. But for his suicide to knock off all that's going on in the world, I don't get it. And it's wrong. And it's part of this culture that has been created by these baby boomers. The media culture, the entertainment culture, it all folds into one. And when we look and analyze who the media and who this generation wants us to feel sorry for, this Robin Williams, one of theirs, one of these baby boomers, and we all know, okay, and I've already been able to establish, okay, in my other 2 videos, that anything a baby boomer does is better than anything else, so all else must stop. If a baby boomer did it, we know this. We know this is how they think. Okay, so it shouldn't really come as any surprise as the media figures that they try to hold up in front of our faces and have us take pity in. Now, really, Robin Williams, at first they said he did it because he lost a lot of money in divorce. Well, a lot of us get fucked over in divorce, I'm a living testament to it. There's stories, okay? But it came out that, yeah, he lost half his dough in a divorce, but he was still a millionaire. He wasn't in, like, any financial ruins. What it was he was upset that, first he was upset that he wasn't getting these big movie roles the way he wanted, and that he had to go back and do a television show that didn't do very well. But so that's worth killing yourself over? Because you're depressed and your notoriety is not what you think it should be? Meanwhile, movies suck. Movies have sucked the last 15 years. All the great entertainment is now on cable TV, whether it's FX or A&E, like Breaking Bad or Walking Dead or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or on these Netflix shows, whether it's Trailer Park Boys. That's where all the funny stuff is. That's where all the creativity is. That's why you see so many of these actors now going back and doing TV, because that's where all the creativity is now, is in TV. That's why you see Elijah Wood doing a show like Wilfred. Okay, because it allows you to be creative. It allows you to do stuff that the movies are all cookie cutter bullshit. But he couldn't see it that way. All he saw was, I'm not being the movie. If I'm not a movie star, then I'm nothing. Because he's stuck in his old ways. That's what baby boomers do. They never want to evolve. Well, TV can't be the cool thing to do again. I'm not a movie star, so it's just I'm a failure. And this is what we're supposed to pity? And then they said he might have been at the beginning stages of Parkinson's. Okay. Tough disease, but he wasn't showing any of the signs of it. Michael J. Fox has been dealing with Parkinson's for 30 years. He takes medications and controls it. Virginia's, my grandmother Virginia, her lackey Florence, had Parkinson's for years. It was controlled. Yeah, it deteriorates after years, and it takes years and years and years and years. And yeah, that sucks. But to kill yourself in a mansion because you might have had like, we don't know this for sure. All we know is he wasn't in financial straits and he hung himself in a mansion. And we sit here and they want us to be like, oh, boo-hoo for Robin Williams, boo-hoo. Don't look at all this other horrible stuff that's going on. Look at this, boo-hoo. This is what you should pity. This poor baby boomer who was so sad and, oh, he couldn't be like, Robin Williams had access to whatever help he could have gotten his hands on. Whatever he wanted was at his disposal. Do not pity Robin Williams. That should piss you off. Thinking about the abuse you suffered and the situation you're in, some of us. And we're supposed to pity this guy who killed himself in a mansion because he wasn't happy with his movie career and TV. And really think about the reasons you've heard that this guy killed himself. He's at the beginning, might have been at the beginning stages of Parkinson's. So how many of you have been suffering with debilitating diseases for years? Or the debilitating anxiety and PTSD of the abuse you've suffered for years and years and years, and you're not sitting in a mansion doing it. And do you mean to tell me a guy who was might have been so concerned about his career didn't think, well, what's it going to be like? What's the news going to do when I kill myself? You don't think Robin Williams knew this is exactly how the media was going to react, the world was going to react, and that's exactly what he wanted? That's exactly what he wanted. Selfish bullshit. That's why most times suicide is selfish. Now, if you got a real debilitating disease and you're going to die and there's no quality of life and nothing can help you anymore, I am all for it, instead of just wilting away and dying. Absolutely. I'm not saying there's never any cause and you should suffer in pain if you got stage 4 cancer and there's no help in Alzheimer's. And yeah, absolutely, there's always, but Robin Williams? Because his 2 ex-wives took half his dough, but he's still worth $60 million. And now it knocks off all this horrible rape and burning of the world and the horrible things that are going on. This is what took center stage in this country for 48 hours, longer. Probably a good week. Who runs the media? Who does it? It's been baby boomers setting up this culture for years and years and years. And this is where we're at, where the world is so fucked up. Unemployment's still through the roof. And, you got the immigration crisis. You got crises all over the place. Robin Williams killed himself. It's all this other stuff. Oh, this poor guy. And then you got to listen to these baby boomers talk about, oh, the first time I saw Robin Williams, this and that. And he was so prophetic. And he was like a prophet. It's like, come on, man. And that's exactly what Robin Williams wanted. And that's why he did it. Don't think he didn't know, oh, everybody's going to mourn. Because let me tell you something, anybody who's thought about killing themselves, let's be honest here, you think about, oh, what's going to happen after I do it? How's everybody going to react? You really think Robin Williams thought, oh, yeah, nobody's going to give a shit? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And we're supposed to boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo. No. No. Baby boomers, and baby boomers have set up this whole media culture, this whole society that we have now, that we are going to be clawing our way back from for the next 100 years. That's how destructive this generation has been. I've already talked about their economics. I already talked about how they built up wealth for themselves, crashed the economy, cashed out for themselves, stuck us all with the debt. Gen Xers, millennials, and millennials and our children. And we're going to be digging out of this for 100 to 150 years. That's how fucked up it is. And they just keep asking for more and more pity and crying. Oh, there's going to be no money for this and no money for that, because they've already spent it all on themselves through pensions and unions and everything else that they've done. Baby boomers. And I've said this before, and it's the other reason why I'm doing the baby boomer thing again, is I spoke about my best friend, the one with the drug problem. And I spoke to him this week, and, you know, he's on permanent disability, and I've never told his whole story, and I'm not going to, but very similar: narcissistic abuse, mother borderline, father an enabler. I did a video about his sister, you know, very early on. Okay, so that's the situation there. So he calls me. So we're talking. He calls me. I called him back, and tells me he's coming down because one of his buddies who lives on the West Coast is getting married. Oh, okay, cool. And he's like, I want to move down there so bad. He goes, can I live down there on $2,200 a month? I'm like, dude, you could live like a king down here on $2,200 a month easily. I'm like, why aren't you still living up there? And he said, I feel guilty from my mother and father. I'm like, why, dude? Why? He's like, oh, well, they're old. I'm like, well, were they old when your mother threw you down the stairs and kicked you in the ribs? Were you old then? Like, no. I'm like, fuck them. Like, but this is what the baby boomers have done. They make you stick around out of some kind of guilt, and then you forget all the shitty things that they've done to you. And now because they're old, now, dude, you screwed up. You got a drug problem. You got a drug problem for years because you were abused as a child. And you're going to stay up there when you can come down here and live like a king and be away from it. They don't need the money. They're like making him feel bad because their house is getting too expensive for them. It's just the two of them. Sell your house and get something small. Like, why is that his problem? Why is that my problem that you can't afford your house? Or your house is too, you want to live in a house, it's only you two, you have no more kids anymore. You're retired, so you're not making what you're making. It's, baby boomers think like that. Now it's your responsibility. Like, you spent all your wealth. Like, it's not our problem. And this is why the economy in the world is shit. And again, and I'm going to say this again, the other thing with the baby boomers is, and this is in response to a message I got through Facebook about the baby boomers being involved with the grandchildren, our children, and trying to screw up everything. And, you know, I thought I've been pretty consistent in talking about that throughout my stories here. But again, Gen Xers, millennials who have children, stop dragging your parents everywhere with you. Establish your own lives. I know guys that moved down here, and this was part of it that got. And this is what got me and my friend Tom on this situation with him and his parents. And I'm like, Tom, look at your friends that moved down here. They moved down here with their parents. Either they moved down there first and the parents followed them, or the parents moved down there first and the kid followed the parents. Why can't we as a gen just get these people, if you're moving with your parents still? And these are people in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, still with their parents up their asses. And we don't see why there's a problem, why we feel like we've never grown up. I have yet to talk to a Gen Xer who's like, you know what, I still feel like a damn child. You know why? Because your parents are in your fucking lives. And I'm not saying that all baby boomers are these narcissistic scumbags, but I'm saying these baby boomers are way too involved in your life, and you need to get some kind of boundaries with them. Even if your parents aren't the abusers or the full-blown narcissists, you're not going to cut them out of your life completely. And you need to still establish a boundary with them because they're too involved in your lives. That's why you feel like you can never grow up. Because mommy and daddy are still up your ass every time you turn around. There they are. Mom, dad, mom. Well, establish your own life. Why are you going to move across the country and then have your parents move? What's the point? Excuse me. And this is because this is the culture that the baby boomer generation has set up. It's always been about them. It will always be about them. Okay? And this isn't all baby boomers again. Okay? I know there's enough of you out there where it doesn't apply to you. Okay? But you're in the minority, unfortunately. The majority of the baby boomers is about me, me, me. They never do anything selfless. They do it for themselves to look good. Or they're looking for some payback. Or they're just looking for somebody else to control in their life. That's why they're so involved with your grandkids, with your kids. That's why. Because they have to constantly be the center of attention. And the best way to be the center of attention is to be dictating how everybody else should live their lives. How everybody else doesn't measure up to them. How they did it better. They did it faster. They did it this. They did it that. That's why they're in your life. And that's why you need to form a boundary with them. So that's my wrap up on Robin Williams and how that's a window into the baby boomer generation and how what they're selling us is bullshit and how the suicide and the death of anyone is sad, but it shouldn't be pitied, not to the level of what it has been. And it sure as hell shouldn't be getting the media attention it did. And all that was set up by the baby boomer generation. And like I said, we're going to be digging out of that mess for the next 100 to 150 years. So, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. This is Ollie Matthews, and I'll see you all again real soon. Thanks. Bye.